our live workshop. So this is, as noted, live workshop, and we are going to definitely use that opportunity to interact. And so if you have questions, if there are things that you want to go back to, I'm happy to do so. I also really want to be respectful of your time and making sure that everybody gets what they need out of this material. We're going to cover a lot. But I just want to make sure that it's super clear that my purpose is truly to give you a simplified view of things that have changed, and make sure that this outcome that we're all focused on is to get you to the best quarter ever. Now, if you are a business that has your first quarter in January and the first couple of months of the year, we're going to set you up to really start running strong. But there are things that we're going to talk about today that you're going to be able to do literally after you hop off this call, and they could make a difference to the last quarter of the year. So we really want to make it simple and to the point, but powerful and empowering certainly too. And if I could pinky promise you right now, I would. I'm going to go all in on giving you just as much energy and not just education, but actionable things that you can use right away. So we're going to talk about what has changed this last year, and we're going to talk about what's always true, so stuff that's the same. And then we're going to talk about what is increasing and kind of what's coming up next and what you can take advantage of to grow that. And I just wanted to put the slide in here because I don't get to do this as often as I would like to do. I'm kind of on a little bit of a, I don't want to say rampage, it's more of a mission to say this in as many forums and as many times as I can, that there are a lot of heroes in the world, and I hope that we never get tired of singing their praises, but small businesses are often overlooked as providing economic stability and paying taxes and contributing to nonprofits out there, providing jobs for families and the neighbors who literally make up our community. So I'm going to ask you to do something a little bit silly because you are the lifeblood of our community, and we take that very seriously. We honor that position. And so I am just feeling really honored to have your time. You are people that I care deeply about and want to see succeed. So if you would just give yourself a high, we call this a high selfie, we coined it. As you're sitting there, it's going to be goofy, but you made time to do this, and you are the lifeblood of our community. I just want to give you a moment to recognize that and say that I see that, we see that, we honor that, and it's really important. I am going to turn my camera off here in a sec just so that we can focus in on the screen, but my name is Lily Darling, and I am the CEO of AnchorWave. For over 10 years, I have had the opportunity to work with our web team, our technical support team, and our digital marketing teams, and have had the opportunity to learn so much more than I ever thought I would. And also just about universal truths for businesses of all types and sizes, whether it's on stage in front of 5,000 people or one-on-one in a Zoom room. I just love teaching, and I love knowing that that has an impact on you and your business. So I am excited to be able to have that opportunity with you today. And here's some of our team. We were born at the same time as the internet was created. So AnchorWave has been around since the inception of the WWW, which is pretty cool. So over these last 2 decades, we have invested in our team, and I am just blessed to say we have top talent in the field because of that. We just really focus on the continued skills. We allow people to be subject area experts where they're not asked to wear a lot of different hats. They get to invest in the track that they are really focused on and really skilled at. And our agency has earned the reputation of trust and of respect in the community. We're the official partners of the BBB. We have been named the best agency 3 times in a row so we say that because we've just earned the trust, and we hope that we can share that with you today. One of the other things that I like to point out, and then we're going to stop talking about us, I just want you to get a sense of kind of where we're coming from. Not a lot of agencies have an oversight sort of organization that tests and kind of vets what they're saying. A lot of agencies can just operate and say what they want to say without much in the way of a third-party validation. And so this is a really interesting aspect of Anchorwave, and again goes with our love of education. We started another business called Agency Coach, and we serve digital agencies across the country. And what that allows us to do is not only show and repeat these systems and processes that we have to get the results that we achieve, but we're held accountable to making sure that everything that we're teaching is truly effective and truly makes a difference. So this is not just about what's happening, in the Southwest or Tucson or the West Coast. This is about what's happening all across the country and really relevant now when it comes to marketing and those tactics. So very excited to share that with you. And just in summary, this introduction is really about setting the central theme. That simplification to amplify is about having this abundance mindset. You all know that there's opportunity out there. We know there's opportunity. You're spending your time to learn and grow. We want to honor that. We know that you are the lifeblood of the community. And so we really want to invest in that. We want to see our community thrive. And so we really feel that the way to do that is through education. And so that's why we're going to spend this time today on that very powerful stuff. Okay, you are the people in the room that this is important for. That's why this matters. And that's why I want to spend this time and go all in on this information. When you have knowledge and when you have clarity, you feel so much more empowered to get over that uncertainty that the market can bring. It's not easy to be a small business leader. It is not easy to face market challenges. These last couple of years have thrown a lot of curveballs, but now is the time where we can really roll up our sleeves and learn from the things that didn't go well, and also from the things that did. So thank you for making this time and this investment. We're going to make this the best end of the year and beginning of quarter one. All right. So I'm going to go into a little bit of teacher mode just for 1 second. Here are some things that have been transformative whenever we've done teachings before. I have already promised to go in full tilt. I've had a lot of caffeine. I'm ready to give you my time and energy and secrets and pull back the curtain. But you are the only one who has control over your side of the screen. And so I would just really encourage you, have a paper, have a pen. As I go through, I might be going quickly. You can drop, we've already talked about dropping your questions in the chat, but write it down on a piece of paper next to you. We're going to save some time at the end to go over those. There are people who have gotten 0 results from attending a workshop because they did 0 on their side of the screen. And there are people who have literally increased their traffic by over 500% by employing some tactics that we're going to share with you. So I just want to make sure that you have the choice. You can decide what kind of attendee you want to be. And I say that sounds sassy. It's really not meant to be that sassy. I just want you to know that you're empowered to do that. And the last thing, I don't know why I went medieval with this, lower the draw. But we're not going to ask for your credit card on this call. I'm not selling you anything today. This is not going to be enter your payment information at the end. This truly is educational. I'm giving you things that you can do yourself. Of course, we're here to help you, but I just want you to know you can kind of let that guard down. You don't need to be worried about me trying to pitch you on this call. So without further ado, I am going to stop my video so you can focus in on the screen, take your notes. You can still hear me. And here is what we are going to be covering today. The first reveal that we want to focus in on is what has changed in 2023. We really want to help you own your backyard and beyond. Google has changed a lot of things that are going to help you get there. So what has changed? The next thing that we want to talk about is what's always true. What are the things that you can rely on? And that has to do with the only 3 customer mindset stages that even exist. So we're going to lock that in for you. And the third part is what's increasing. We're going to give this to you in a non-jargon kind of way. This is the formula that creates, it's repeatable. So that's why it ends up being magic. So let's jump in. If you see this little symbol, this little bow, it's an indicator to just let you know that there's some stuff that we're going to give you. We're going to give you some links at the end. Priscilla, who is our marketing implementer. Hey, Priscilla, sorry I didn't do an intro there at the beginning, but she is here to help moderate. And we're going to be delivering a lot of links, some documents, some notes, some downloads. So I want to make sure that you know that when you see that, good stuff is coming your way. As I mentioned, we've got a lot of things that are going to be gifted to you. So just keep an eye out and make sure you stick around to the end so that you can grab all that good stuff. All right. I mentioned this before. It's not always an easy road. There's rumors of harder economic times or things that change. And that slowdown truly is a choice. And that's why you have a lot of power as to which way you're going to go with this. This story of adversity can also be your story of opportunity. And I think a lot of people get bogged down when they think about changes and they think about technology and they get a little nervous. What is new? Can I handle it? Can I learn? And that's what we want to do today, is bring a simplification and bring a clarity to you, because change and information does not have to be scary. All right, so let's jump into what has changed. Let's demystify it. Let's open it up a little bit. We're going to get into some details about just exactly what has happened in 2023. What all did Google do? We're going to talk about some unexpected trends and how they can help you own your backyard. I did make a clarification to this title. We're going to go with the top things, because if you track the algorithm changes that Google does, you will recognize that there are hundreds. So we're going to go with the top ones, and really call out some things that you're going to want to take note of in your business. First thing is that in July of this year, we are out with the old and in with the new. If you're familiar with this logo and with this title, Google Analytics, that has been sunset. We are now in the land of Google Analytics 4, or GA4. So there's a really new approach in terms of how Google is collecting information and the information they are not collecting. So all that old data that's going to fade away. Look at that fancy transition. As of July 1st this year, the standard universal analytics have stopped processing data. Now, if you have an account, it's still going to be there, but it is no longer collecting data. And the other kind of interesting things about GA4 is that it really was born out of this priority to comply with privacy, and the way that we're moving towards leaving behind the third-party cookies. So you could have two reactions to this. Oh no, my reporting is doomed, or hooray for internet privacy. And I couldn't help but do a cookie monster here to just really drill in this fact. The method in which data is being collected is going to change significantly, and it's really critical that that you have this updated tracking mechanism on your website. So, in terms of, again, why it matters, that universal analytics, that old data, is no longer going to be tracking. So if you have not updated it since July, you don't have any of that new information about how users are interacting with your site. So making sure that you update to the new GA4, it's straightforward. It's not a crazy type of code to integrate, but it is just very critical that you make that update. All right, so now that we know what you need to be paying attention to, looking at your analytics and seeing how people are interacting with your site, it's important to also know what Mama Google. I don't know when I started calling her Mama. I just like thinking of her as this kind of all-knowing Mama Bear. And she is all-knowing. So what is Google paying attention to? And I think that the key thing is to recognize that Google has just really become the largest facilitator of communication. And to kind of break that down even further, it's what's underneath the communication. What truly is the intent, not just the information, but the intention and the underlying desire underneath the communication. So if you just think of search words or search terms, maybe you've heard of that, or you go to search, it's a search engine. Think of Google now as a whole lot more of a connector, a communicator, and really the intention. So let's look a little bit further about what Google does know. What does Google know that's underneath your search? And one of the things that Google knows is where. And you might think, okay, where does that mean? This holds true online just like it does offline. Your location is super critical. Not only your location, but your prospect's location and your competitor's location. So this is just one of those communication pieces that Google is so good at and has a lot of information on. And this really is exemplified by the opportunity in this announcement. Now, this is not necessarily, let's take a few steps back. It's not just 2023, this actually happened and was in transition and working towards this, but it really became super critical that you understand location. And Google actually changed their name and their profile of their predominant tool and property that they called previously Google My Business. And now that property is called Google Business Profile. So I want to actually go back in time one more step. Who can remember this? This is a few steps back. And it just brings back so much nostalgia. Look at that little yellow pages where you got your central ads. You can pay to put white behind it, so it really popped out. All kinds of businesses came out with, A names because they wanted to be first in the list. This is kind of how you can think of the Google Business Profile. This is a directory. It's an ad. It's where people go to get information, but truly it's become so much more than that. Now, I'm going to use ours as an example. This is the top portion of a Google Business Profile. This is our Anchor Wave Google Business Profile. And the key things you see, you've got a map, you've got photos, you've got our name, our address, super key. So these are some basics of the Google Business Profile, just a directory listing. If you want to call us, obviously you can call us, you can go to our website. But what we really saw over the last couple of years is that during the pandemic, the volume of calls really dropped. People obviously were not looking to go places or find out where you're located because they weren't going to go to your location. There was drops in calls, but after the pandemic, it surged to even higher volumes of activity. And so we recognize how critical it is to have these Google Business Profiles as a resource for your business. I wanted to show you kind of like, again, how it shows up and where to look for the differences in businesses that have taken advantage of it versus not. So you can see here on the screen, this is just a simple search, and we've kind of highlighted at the top, that real estate up there is your PPC, pay-per-click, or AdWords. This is paid sponsored ad space. But directly below that is your local SEO. Now, this has your map and it has what we call a 3-pack. Now, a lot of people, when they think about SEO or they think about being on a search result, they didn't really consider this and take this as seriously, because as you can see, this is prime real estate. The top part, yes, you're paying for in a pay-per-click. That can be a real fast solution to the top. But this local SEO section is really critical because it all focuses on owning your backyard. And so I'm going to skip through this a little because it just kind of breaks down those details. But you can see here that prime real estate is really at the top of the page above what we would call just your organic search results, where it's linking to your website. This local space is super important. And so up until recently, this was a section that a lot of marketers were not paying attention to. And so to take it even a step further, when you think about location, you have to understand that your search results are not what other people see. So as a business owner, this is really critical, but just be aware that what you see is not what everyone else sees. Depending on where you are, when you do your search, the results are going to be different. So this graphic kind of helps maybe give you a visual view of this. So if you've ever been in your office and you're sitting there and you're thinking, hey, how do I rank? How do I show up on a search engine? And you Googled your business, you plucked that into the search engine and thought, hey, I'm looking pretty good here in terms of results. I'm showing up. Well, you are, see what that blue pin is? You're right at the epicenter. You're very close to where your actual business location is. So you're going to show up higher because Mama Google wants to show you the closest location and give you a good result that's nearby you. Now, your prospects are obviously all around town. Some of them obviously are going to be closer. Some of them are going to be further away. So you just need to recognize that Google knows the location of not only you, your business, but also of your prospects and of your competitors. So this is a tool that we use. You can see the little bow because this is something that we would love to be able to put in your hands. This view right here is showing a map, kind of a more data-driven than the infographic I just showed you. And it is a search for roofing contractor in Baltimore. And so you can see this 10-mile radius. Now, the green little dots are where the ranking is really high, position 1, 2, or 3. As you kind of move out into more condensed and further away populations, you can see that that turns into red. So those are ranking positions of 20 or more. So red, where you're not showing up. Green is where you are showing up, close to that business address, and the company is going to show up. So this really gives you a visual picture of how are you going to own not only, the actual real estate, around you, but how are you going to own that real estate in the search engine that's very critical to your business. And so knowing that location is so key, knowing that this is going to show up in a really high position on Google search engine page means let's pay attention to this and let's figure out what does Google want to see in these Google business profiles. This is where we're going to kind of do some interactive stuff. So get ready here. But in 2023, there have been new features that Google has rolled out for the Google business profile. So as you can see there on the left, I pointed out those are the basics. You got your name, you got your address, you got your phone number. It's going to have the map. You're going to have some photos, reviews, super big. But what's been expanded is that Google also allows you to add products and services. So over there on the far right, you can see we've added our products with an image of that or a brand or a logo. So if you've got services or products that have brands and photos, you're actually able to kind of almost build out this little mini cart. Now, you're not going to be doing transactions there, but this is really giving some super big information to Google about what it is that you sell, the services and products that you offer. Now, that middle section right here is posts. So kind of like a blog. You can put information out about anything and everything that you want Google to know about. This is the clue. Mama Google, you want to tell her what's going on. And this is giving all of those people who view your Google business profile really important information about your business. So this is what we want to look at today, and what you can take away and actually do after this call is create a really concise, timely bit of information that you can share with Google and with your visitors. Now, these posts will stay there, but Google does not continue to show them beyond the 7-day window as like a prime piece of information. So these things time out. You have to continue to keep them fresh, and you always want to be posting that kind of consistent new information. So let's go ahead and jump over to a new window, and I'm just going to show you how this works. And don't worry, we're going to give you the links and the information that you need to do this yourself. But right now we're going to go over to business.google.com to our own Google business profile. So up here, I've already logged in just to make this easier for you all. But you would be going to business.google.com. And you can see that over here on the right, here's the preview of our Google business profile. I manage this. Okay, cool. I'm in like editing mode, and you can scroll down. Here's that product section that I was telling you about. You can see that we've added all of our different products that we offer in here. And as you scroll down, you can also see what is this posting area. So you can add an update. So this is our general information. You want to make sure you have that. You want to make sure that you're using the best keywords and make sure that that's really rich. But we're able to add an update here. So just clicking that button pops up this window. Now, a couple different things we're able to add here: a description, photos, and a button. Now, again, just for the sake of speed, I have a little cheat sheet here. This is going to be our Black Friday sale. I'm going to just grab this copy here and come back over to our description window. So we are actually just today announcing, again, this is not the focus of this webinar, but we are offering 2 crazy deals, one for our marketing hubs and one for our digital marketing programs. And so I've got the description here. So that all looks good. I could even make it a little longer because I've only used about 500 characters. I'm going to add a photo. I'm going to go ahead and grab it from my downloads and pop that in there. And then I'm going to also grab the link that I had saved here. So all of this, just 3 simple components. And then we're going to be able to go ahead and see if that works. You know what? I'm going to do learn more, and I'm going to do my button because that photo doesn't want to load in there. I'm going to come back to it just for the sake of being able to do this live with you. Okay, cool. Update posted. Your update is being reviewed and you're going to receive an email. So without that image, I am going to go back and add that photo. But we can see here that we just very easily created an awesome, essentially free ad. You didn't have to pay for this. This is all free. And as soon as that's approved, that's going to be sitting right here next to this great information for anyone who is looking for those types of services and searching online. So really cool thing that you can do for absolutely free. This Google Business Profile does not cost you anything. You are going to be able to post this ad for free, and you can do this every day if you want. And you can also add just as easily. I showed you how to do a Black Friday deal, but you could add your products as well and put those out there just for free for the world to see. So maybe we'll come back at the end of the webinar and I can kind of show you, since that will take a minute to process. But that's how easy it is, guys. Like that is entirely within your control. Now there's a couple steps, obviously, that I skipped over. You're going to need to have access to that Google Business Profile, and you're going to need to be making sure that you're consistently posting and having a presence in order for Google to really pick up on that. But this is a huge opportunity for businesses on Google to get that free exposure. The other piece that I just want to make sure is underscored is that we use a tool that Google also offers. It's called Google Trends, to show you that activity is happening for your business. There's a lot of folks that we talk to that say, oh, I don't know if people are actually searching for what I offer. Well, Google Trends is the way that you can find out. So here's a demonstration of what it looks like in Google Trends. So you can see this is a graph. You can see it's higher on the left and it's going lower, right? So there's a drop. What kind of a business do you think this might reflect when consumers are losing interest and they're no longer even searching for you at all? Can you guess, like, what kind of search term might this be? The years here are pretty key. I'm gonna go ahead and give it away. Blockbuster. Good old favorite, memory of going in there, but nobody does that any longer. Blockbuster search volume really dropped off. But we wanted to make sure, and we do this day in and day out for our customers, is to say, what kind of interest is happening over time? And so here's an example of an HVAC company that over these last couple of years has seen steady and increasing interest. So what I want you to take away is that interest is happening. We're not in a blockbuster scenario. Folks have turned to Google, have turned to the Google Business Profile time and time again, and that this is a very, very active place for your business to be performing. These are some stats in terms of what's working now. This is not something I'm expecting you to absorb entirely, but in this one industry alone, we saw 32.5% increase over 2019. Leads, thousands of leads going up, reviews going up, and the cost of advertising, actually cost per click, going down. So I just want you to know that the activity happening online is worth paying attention to. Getting those Google Business Profiles set up is super key. And, as I mentioned in the first couple of minutes with you, I really want you to feel the confidence that comes from clarity. So this information is intended to help you feel that clarity and that confidence. We know that our customers and our partners would not trust us if they didn't see that this happened time and time again. And the truth is that your online presence is more important now than ever. You've got more internet traffic, you've got these searches that are holding strong, and you have people who are looking for answers and local leaders. So you can be on that center stage. Your business has this ability to be the center of attention when you enact these tactics. So how do you use this attention? If you do have a business and you want it to grow over the remaining months of 2023, and like I mentioned, I'm all about quarter one of 2024, because that truly January is the one that makes the quarter and makes the whole year. Well, I skipped one. Now is always the time, when you can attract those customers. So we talked about, we were going to tell you when the best time to attract them. Now is always the time. When we started the agency, that was the time. And now is the time for you to take action and not be on autopilot, not be afraid to make changes because you're afraid of technology or knowing what's different in Google. So let's take the autopilot off in another way, because I think what we're about to cover next is really going to be exciting for you. And this is a foundational piece that does not change. So when we talked about what's changed, this next section is going to be something that you come back to time and time again, that you can build on. You can start now, and then you can increase as you move forward. So these are really looking at the stages that your customers, no matter what, they're always going to be going through before they call your business. And just kind of taking a breath in terms of, you've probably tried different marketing strategies before. You've thought about this question: how can you speak to your customer? How can you get to the people who really you want to work with? And the truth is, it's just really easy to get overwhelmed. This list is, on the left, we've got a lot of the digital things that we work in, but on the right, there's all these other options, making choices between, someone telling you you've got to do direct mail and you've got to do display ads and you've got to do a billboard. All of these different choices make it really easy to get to that overwhelmed state and to not take action. The problem with all of those choices is that businesses get sold without considering, is this the right tool for the bigger picture, or really understanding who it's going to attract. Not all of these strategies serve the same goal. You can't just put them all under the umbrella of marketing or business growth and say that it's all going to head the right direction. There are some really key differences in the strategies and a really key difference in the order that you do them in. So I love this slide because I grew up in Alaska, and my dad didn't really love to fish. He would take us fishing, but he would just sit on the bank and read a book. But he took us, which was fantastic. And so we'd be out there either dip netting or trying to get salmon. But it's really important, no matter what you're fishing for, or if you're reading a book, not fishing, that what kind of bait to use, what kind of tackle, what those fish are attracted to, right? Because they're all different types and they go after different things. So we're going to kind of apply the same logic to the buying cycle concept. Every customer you've ever had went through these specific stages to become a customer. And so we've got awareness, consideration, the purchase, and advocacy. All right, so these are the 4 stages. And really, that purchase stage is the one that we're trying to get them to. But the other 3 are the ones that often get lumped into one. So we're going to talk about the differences. Any strategy, so if we talk about any of those things on that list or anything that you would work with an agency with, the strategy that you choose is going to only influence awareness, consideration, purchase, and that review advocacy stage. So the problem is that in addition to overwhelm, the marketing that is selected is oftentimes unbalanced or just really unintentional. So we're going to clarify this and give you examples of each of those 3 so that you can understand, where do you have the most opportunity? What's going to give you the most power in this next quarter? So we're going to eliminate the waste. We do not need to be wasting money, and eliminate that time and effort that it takes whenever you're doing something that's really off course. So this is 3 ways to visualize what we've been talking about: the active searchers, the passive prospects, and the referral. These are other ways that we can talk about these stages. So the quickest, I'm actually starting in stage 2. We're going to go back to stage 1, don't worry. But the quickest is stage 2, consideration. And the reason we start with the quickest is because it's probably the one that you think of the most when you're thinking about, I want customers. People who are actively searching, they know they have a problem, they want to solve it, and they are actively searching for someone to solve that problem for them. So we call them active searchers. Makes sense, right? They're also known as your hot buyers. They've got their credit card at hand. They're ready to buy. And here's an example. So let's use solar panels and solar installation as the scenario here. We've got this guy. We're going to call him Jim. And he's always been into the environment and alternative energy. And he just bought a house, super excited. Now he can install solar panels. He's always wanted to. He just needs to find the best company to help him out, right? So his search is specific because he's actively looking for solar panels. He's considering exactly what he wants. He knows what he's going to put into that search bar. So what's really interesting is that this is going to be very specific. He's actively looking. So you're going to be able to speak to Jim in a really particular way. And so that's what we put up here at the top of this iceberg. If this was all your customer set, that's where active goes. It's the ones you can see. It's the first ones you think of. Now, you might wonder, why would you target anybody except active searchers? And here's why. There's only going to be a natural amount and a natural limit to the number of people who woke up this morning at any given time and are going to be searching for solar panels, searching for what you sell. And you typically aren't able to influence that the day of. What you can look at is the future buyers. And that is where there's so much more volume and there's so many more folks who are in your prospect pool. This is that first stage, and that's awareness. These are prospects who are out there, and they are your future buyers. They represent the large quantity. So they typically really only need one of two things. They need to either be inspired that they have that need, inspired to take action on solar, or they need to be informed. And so that's where you really have a lot of power. So let's go back to our example. Let's say Jim has a neighbor, Randy, and Randy already owns his home and it does not have solar power installed. And in his head, he's been thinking, oh, it's going to be a big upfront investment and it's a hassle to get started. So he is not actively looking. He's chill. However, let's say, what if Randy was informed that there's a credit system that earns back his investment? Okay, so that's going to lower his bill and that financial concern he had. And let's say he actually gets an expert to come out and consult and take measurements and look at his home without any cost. So bam, he just went from that sitting on the fence, being potentially interested, to being highly motivated because we have activated those two things. He's now out of that passive state and he is warmed up and becoming a prospect who would be in the market for solar. So that's why it's really key to understand that it doesn't take a miracle. Truly, it's being inspired and informed, and that as a business owner is where you hold that power. The last stage that I really want to take a look at is one that oftentimes is forgotten. These are folks that this is just an opportunity for you to leverage those folks who knew that they got that they had a great experience, and oftentimes they're known as word of mouth. So sometimes business owners say, okay, I have word of mouth. That's all I need. And it's really simple. I don't have to do anything. But let's take another look at that. So same situation, same neighborhood, Randy and Jim. They might of their own accord tell every living soul that they know about their experience. And that would be really great, right? But there's a limit to that too. Businesses have a tremendous opportunity to foster that moment and look at word of mouth as something that they can actively participate in and then nurture online. So let's just think if Jim was armed with, a digital email referral code to forward to a friend, or maybe it's a yard sign and asked to leave a review on Angie's List. So now that activated customer is magnetizing future business for you. And so this is why it's really critical not only to pay attention to that group and use it to propel yourself into more growth, but also to understand that these reviews and referrals are really part of the trust journey for that awareness audience. Okay, so now when you look at all those different, what you thought before were marketing strategies based on how it influences the buyer cycle, when you go to decide, it becomes just 1,000% easier. it becomes a no-brainer. You don't have to be confused about which one to choose. You can say, I know exactly who this market is in my business, and I know exactly what stage and what kind of thoughts they are having and how to influence it. So your marketing efforts, if you take nothing else away from today, your marketing efforts that you're doing right now, any ones that you've done in the past, are only ever going to influence those three categories. And so this is one of the pieces that we want to give away. Here's my little a little icon for giving something away here. And we call this our customer cycle identifier. And what we want you to do is to not be confused. Again, simplify to amplify. We want clarity. This works for all industries. What you're going to do, and we're going to give you a blank one, and this is going to be a Google Slide document, so you can fill this out on your own time. And what I want you to do is think about your customers, think about your prospects, and I want you to organize them and rank them so that you are clear on who you're going after first, second, third. What represents the best opportunity for you? This example is for a dentist. Let me just point out the differences between maybe these first top two lines. Let's think about the people who are new to an area and they're looking for a new dentist. All right. So just by that description, they're new, they are looking. So we know, ding, 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 the pyramid step right there is active. They are active searchers. Okay. And so they represent a pretty motivated customer. And so we like that a lot. We definitely want that to be part of our marketing strategy. So we put that up there at number one. The second one here are people who don't have a dentist, and they don't go regularly and they aren't looking. So they still don't have a dentist. There's no one they're committed to. They do have a need, but they just aren't looking. So we have that opportunity to inform them. We can motivate them. We can get them to switch from that passive state into an active state. That represents a ton of business. And so we really want to make sure that we've got those folks on our radar. And the third list is still someone who's actively searching, someone with a dental emergency. There's just probably not as many quantity of those folks. And so that's why that got ranked a little lower. So you could do this for your business, divvy folks up into those active and passive buckets. And that way, whenever you come to making a decision as to how you're going to have the best year ever, you know exactly who's at the top spot. And then we're going to talk about how you get to those folks. And we've already even handled some of those already today. So you've already got some actions in your back pocket, but truly making a decision then becomes so much easier whenever you are thinking about, okay, do I do an active strategy or do I do a passive strategy? So Priscilla's going to share this link at the end. You're going to get that grid, but let's just jump into thinking about what happens first. Why is it so critical to think about a framework? And so this is a picture of obviously a house framework. We need to have a structure, and we're working on that right now. Even knowing what customers you're going after is part of that framework. Now we know the shape of it. It's so critical to have something that we can come back to, because if you're just making decisions in the moment without a plan, you're not going to be coming together with this beautiful, business and home that you want to live in. So let's jump into this formula and this framework. The real key that I've said before is that it is repeatable. And that's where I get so excited. Marketing becomes really magical, in my opinion, because if it's repeatable and if it works and you can come back to it, that means it's truly transformational and you are able to come back to it time and time again and grow your business. All right. So why is it important? Obviously, the foundation is key for any building. It is first things first. If you do not have something stable that you are building your business on, or something that you're building your marketing on, you cannot just mix and match one shiny tactic with another. Otherwise, the whole thing comes tumbling down, right? Dramatic demonstration here of a non-strong foundation. When things come along and you don't have the basics in place first, you're not going to be able to build on that. I don't want that to be you. I don't want this to be your marketing. I don't want anyone to fall victim to, putting the cart before the horse. So don't get suckered into those shiny marketing tactics that don't serve your goals. Here's the framework that has worked time and time again. Let me just walk you through what we call our local domination roadmap, because truly everybody who comes to us wants one thing. It's more customer engagement and activity. So that's what you're going to see ascending on the left-hand side. But in order to get that, you have to follow the steps that are outlined here. That marketing foundation at the bottom is the puzzle piece that you must begin with if you're going to win. So 9 times out of 10, if we talk to somebody and they say, oh, we've tried digital marketing in the past and we just didn't get any results, and then we dig a little deeper, we find out they did not follow these steps in the right order, or sometimes they just skipped steps altogether. So my goal is to show you how to implement these in the proper order, get you the customer activity that you want. We're not going to go through all of them today, but we are going to focus on a continuation of what Google's changed. So all that good stuff that we talked about before is really found in this marketing foundation. And that's where we want to zero in to help you establish that credibility as a business. So let's start at the marketing foundation and let's talk about what is happening when the customers are taking this journey with you. Okay, so without a strong foundation, keep that in the back of your mind. I want to introduce you to a concept that we call the trust tipping point, because for any sale to occur or for any journey of your customer to happen, you have to help your customers overcome their skepticism and build their trust. So everything that they're doing on that left side of the mountain is overcoming skepticism. It's something that we've all experienced. Anytime we buy anything, it's that moment where your decision to purchase and you desire something turns into absolute certainty. Customers are kind of like little lawyers. They're out there making sure they're doing their due diligence, that they're making the right decision. And so as they're doing this, they're checking out a lot of different places. They're looking at your reviews. They're looking at your website. They're collecting data. If you've ever been on Amazon and you're thinking about buying something, well, you're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page and check out what people said about it, right? You want to feel certain that when you reach that point of a decision, you're either going to trust that it's the right thing to do, or you're going to decide, you know what, I didn't see enough trust signals. I'm going to back out and I'm not making that. So it's really critical that you understand what strategies, where people are looking in order to make that impact on your marketing foundation and continue on their journey. So here's the short list. These are the 4 areas that you really need to make sure you don't have red flags. Okay. These are the things people are checking out first to keep them going and to make sure that they have a reason to continue on that journey. So your website, we have revolutionized this property. We call it our marketing hub because it's so critical to be the place where people go. It needs to be professional, modern, clearly communicate what you do, engage with people, get them to that next step. Then we've got your reputation. We saw one of the primary things that Google shows in their search results, in their Google business profile, is your reputation, is your active review program. It's going to be the thing that between 2 choices, people use to make that decision between you and your competitors. We talked about the Google business profile. We jumped right into that. So you fully understand the power of that and what's new. But that information is critical to both Google and to your customers. And then lastly, we've got our social media activity. So lots of times people are checking social before they check your website. They want to make sure you're really in business, and the most active place that they can verify that that's true, they don't know if your website's out of date. They're going to check your social and make sure that you've got those pages. So those are the 4 strategies that we know are the first stop on that trust journey. And so we're not going to dive into all of them, but just to kind of give you the picture as to why this is so important. If you think about your website or even your Google business profile as your storefront, just take a moment to, look at these 2 different storefronts. What kind of impression are you getting from each of these places, right? I like this analogy because, it's a common issue. If you have a Google business profile that looks like that business on the left, or if you have a website that looks like that business on the left, how many prospects do you think you're going to get to go in there? Not a whole lot, right? Versus the one on the right. Now, I could come up with a PPC campaign or Facebook campaign, and we could drive thousands of visitors to that business on the left. But I bet we would all agree that a majority of people that we send there would never want to set foot in that building, let alone buy something. So we have to be sure that our strategies start from that foundation and we have our storefront in order, right? It's much more welcoming on the right. It would convert a ton more visitors that we send there. So having a professional online presence is so critical to that marketing foundation. You don't have to be doing business online. People are checking this out as their first stop. So it's really key that you pay attention to that and that you have a marketing hub that does that work. Now, obviously, here's some examples of properties that we have created that reflect the brand. Those marketing hubs are not just pretty site, they are built for engagement. The other piece, we talked about this before, is that Google Business Profile. This has to be kept up very frequently. We need to have those posts happening a lot. And also that reputation and that reference point for your reviews is super critical. This is one of the number one places that people are going to find out if they're going to trust you or not. So these are some stats that kind of prove that point in terms of people looking for a local business. They search for them online, 97%. Okay. We talked about this a lot. Tons and tons of activities happening on the internet. You need to be paying attention to it. 93% of those people regularly read online reviews, and it's usually more than one site. And people trust those reviews as much as a personal recommendation. This is just one quick story with our co-owner at Anchorwave. Anthony had a friend ask, hey, I need a referral. And so Anthony suggested a business and said, hey, this is just the right guy. You should call him up. Well, the friend that he referred to looked him up on Google and noticed that the business had a 2.7 rating. So this is how you think about word of mouth is everything. But even with a word of mouth referral, this guy calls Anthony up and says, you referred me a dud. Why would you send me this guy who has this 2.7 rating? But 85% of consumers take reviews as a personal recommendation. So it's super critical that you have that referral tidied up and that it is speaking to the same quality as your word of mouth referrals. So after you do look at that marketing foundation, it would be time to look for active searchers and look at those strategies that are there. I really want to focus us in today on that marketing foundation. We have just as much content and education we would love to share with you about active and the passive levels. Certainly welcome any questions about those. That's something that we're going to give you an opportunity to opt into here in just a few minutes if you have those questions. But right now, really, you've learned about the marketing foundation and you have two choices. We definitely want to set you up for success. And so we're giving you the tools. You can go it alone. You can figure this out. We're going to give you some links. You're able to pass this along to your team. Or you could get it right the first time by learning from someone who's done it before over and over again. And now I do think that this is a smart decision because we've talked about the value of time, honoring your time here, but I know you're out there in the world doing your work. You're doing your passion. You're doing your craft. You're running your business is absolutely more than a full-time job. And so being able to leverage these strategies and get the kind of activity that you are going after by partnering with someone who does this day in and day out can give you that shortcut for success. And so if you choose number 2 to partner with someone who can help you do it the right way the first time and get you to your objective a whole lot faster, this is what we want to do for you. We want to put together all of these deep dives on your business. These reports, everything that we kind of showed you today in terms of, those industry tools that we get, the GeoGrid. We want to sit down and put this together and put it in your hands. And we call this our customized playbook. So we give this to you. No, there's no cost to this, but it's customized to your business. Obviously, today I'm speaking to a bunch of you. Thank you all for being here. But this is wide open and I can't speak directly to your market and your brand and who your number one active or passive audience is. And so what's really cool about this playbook is that for every level, so you can see there at the bottom, there's the marketing foundation. we're going to pull reports specifically for your business. This is going to be generic. This is going to be information about your business. So we're going to look at your marketing hub at your website. We're going to look at reviews across the internet. We have a proprietary tool that pulls all of this for you. And you're going to see a really clear picture of what's happening at your marketing foundation. Is there something you need to fix? Are you killing it? Whichever way it goes, you're going to be informed and have even more clarity than you had when you walked into this call today. The next level up, those active searchers that are the hot buyers, those are the ones you want to go after. You're going to get reports on exactly what they're searching for. We're going to tell you what terms they are looking at. We're going to tell you what Google says about that. We're going to give you how many people are in your geographic area. We're going to give you that GeoGrid, but specific to your business. So you're going to be able to see like, oh, here's where I rank, and I don't have to drive all across town. I can just see how I'm doing, both in the center of town and on the outskirts. I'm going to see what my competitors are up to. We'll pull competitor reports for you. So every single layer of this playbook is meant to give you clarity and information on your business specifically. So that's what we want to make sure that you have the opportunity to take action on. We're obviously going to be giving you some other links here, but I want to make sure that it's super clear that you pop over and sign up for all of these reports, because this is what's really going to help you take action and be able to. I'm going to skip through these. These are all the reports that are in there in a list format, but there's one more bonus that we wanted to give you. So all of these reports are in there. All of them are in there. We're not going to charge you for that. Typically it does add up to almost $1,000. This is the link that you're going to need. And if Priscilla, if I can ask you to drop that in the chat too, because this is where I want you to go to sign up for that playbook. There's one more bonus. We'll come back to that link in just a second. We're going to take off the to-do list. I know we just walked through how to build out that Google business profile, but we'll do this for you. I want to say thank you for spending this time with us today. We typically charge for this service to build out that Google business profile. But if you want us to make sure you're in the right category for your Google business profile, you want to make sure you've got keywords in your description. You want to make sure you've got your posts set up properly and that you've got some images. We're going to do all of that for you. So if you are wanting to make sure that that's done correctly, sign up for this playbook. You're going to get that Google business profile as an added bonus. So that's all we want you to do, is just take the next step. Even if that next step is you doing something, if you're going to do that with your team, grab all these links that Priscilla's putting in the chat. Make sure that you're building these things out. And also just take advantage of the playbook, because this is going to be the customized piece for your business. It's going to allow you to start 2024 off with a bang and close out 2023 with some of those best practices in place. I wanted to just show you what that link looks like. You got it in the chat. Here's the page that we're going to go to. Again, this talks about all of those custom reports. We want to give this away. There is no charge for that. So you're just going to put your name in. You're going to put your company name. And if you have a website, great, put that URL in there. Fill this out. This is what's going to reserve those. We do actually have a limited, it's holidays, so we have a limited amount that we can do, but I want to make sure that everybody, especially because you've been on this call, that you're able to opt into this and take advantage of that and get your Google business profile. So go to anchorwave.com/digital marketing strategy consultant. We've got that link in the chat. Fill this out. Just get on the calendar and grab this information from us. We're going to combine that with your free Google business profile build out, and you're going to get all those goodies. Wow, we did it with 1 minute over, guys. We made it through our hour. I'm looking at the chat here. Q&A. Drop your questions in there. I see Priscilla's got our links. Oh, thank you for putting in that link over to your customer cycle identifier. So this is yours to keep. Make a copy of it. Fill this out. This is going to have your pyramid steps in there, help you to identify who to go after first, where you've got the most most authority, and the most power in there too. And let's see. Building trust. Okay, cool. Any other questions? I see that we've got some folks from all kinds of different cool industries in the chat. We've got IT, we've got AV, we've got somebody who needed to hop off. All right. Any questions in the chat? Also, I just wanted to make sure that you know that you can certainly reach me at my email. I am behind that email when those things get sent to you. So certainly just hit reply, shoot me a question as you're thinking about this, or as you're building out your own Black Friday offer. Just know that you can reach us at that email address, and certainly you will have the opportunity to go through this playbook with an expert. I didn't mention that. This is not just a PDF that gets sent to you in email. You're going to sit down with one of our expert strategists, and they are going to be able to answer those questions for you, custom to your business. Thanks, Paul, for your comment in there. And great question about the Black Friday discounts. You did see me pop our Black Friday offer into the Google Business Profile. And so that is something that we are going to be sharing. There's some limited capacity on that as well, but I will definitely get that information into your hands. We are offering the biggest discount and offer that we've ever offered for web work. So I think that's a great question, and I would definitely invite you to take advantage of that. We're going to be cutting everything absolutely in half. It's going to be 50% off of your web development, your marketing hub. I wasn't actually planning on going into this on this call, but since you asked, I'm going to share. And you know what? This is a great opportunity. If you're an action taker, definitely would invite you to get a marketing hub, not just a basic website on the shelf, but developing your website out, adding more pages, making sure that your customers know exactly what it is that you're offering. All of that is tremendously important. On the digital marketing side, our offer is if you purchase 6 months of digital marketing, you get 3 months for free. No matter how many programs or services that you are going that would serve your business, you're going to get 3 of those for free. So those are the 2 Black Friday offers that if you just get on the calendar with us, we're going to make sure that you get that locked in. And so great question, Paul. Appreciate you asking that. We'll be sending out some more information, but certainly feel free to ask us about that. All right, everyone. I want to make sure that you have a moment, fill out that form on the playbook page. The playbook itself, these are some testimonials. Gail gave us a great review in regards to just going through the assessment process. She said it was really helpful in getting my ducks in a row without, making someone feel bad. I think that's the maybe resistance that happens. Like we're going to, chastise you for not doing marketing right, but that's really not the case. You really are going to get powerful information about your marketing and be able to use it. And so we guarantee that it's 100% the case that every single person who has done the playbook process with us has received value. So you can absolutely be guaranteed that you're going to get value out of that. Clint Perry said that there shouldn't be any hesitation. So just go through the process. It's very objective. And then you walk away feeling really informed. So huge encouragement to be able to do that today. You're going to get all those bonuses and that free Google Business Profile build out. So thank you all. I'm going to round it out. Looks like we've got our questions being answered there. And I really just appreciate, it's the week of gratitude. And so I thank you all so very much for spending this time with me. Go out there, create some stuff on your Google Business Profile, get some business. Thank you for being a local business hero, and very grateful for you. Take care.